Welcome to Disattractions episode 10. I will say for the viewer, I am so sorry that I stated that Gravity Falls was episode 10 on our Instagram, because someone did point that out to me, and I was like, oh yeah, we skipped episode 9, didn't we? So this is actually episode 10.
We have a secret for you guys. So since we were getting so close to all of our right answers for a lot of the stuff we did before, because we had a lot of those instances where things would come true after we'd say it. So Universal contacted us, and DreamWorks contacted us, telling us that there's actually we know the fifth gate. We know there's going to be a fifth gate. We know it's what it is, and it's way bigger than you ever could think of, because it's another whole park, actually, a whole new DreamWorks park attached to it.
For some reason, it's going to be Disney's fifth gate. Like, it's just going to be revolutionary.
It's actually going to connect the parks. It's going to be on one side is Disney, the other side's Universal.
Yeah, Disney's buying Universal, guys. That's kind of crazy. And what's going to be the gate between them?
So you're like, what Universal park or what DreamWorks IP would they use?
So it gets really confusing, but you'll get it. You're
like, what DreamWorks IP are they going to use? Well, they messaged us, and we're able to break the news to everyone. Mm-hmm. Sadly, it's not Kung Fu Panda. No. It's not an entire Shrek park. We know it's not How to Train Your Dragon.
Well, dang it, it's not even Shark Tale. That's what I was really hoping for, but you know.
All right, ready? Drum roll, please.
With Woody Allen as Tom Ants.
It is Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Yeah, it is Mr. Peabody.
It's Mr. Peabody and Sherman. I'm sorry for everyone who didn't want that as a theme park. It's happening.
You're getting an entire fifth park.
The government is paying for it, so all of our taxes are going to it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, Elon Musk is the one who kind of signed off on this, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Don't make that be a deter from we don't support any presidential candidate on this or any sort of government thing. We're just here to report the news about Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Yeah, so we don't want to make anything political here. All we're doing is talking about Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
So yeah, if anything we say on here you think is a political sway or a political thing, it's not. Uh-huh. It's talking about Mr. Peabody's experience with the president.
Is Mr. Peabody a Republican? I don't know.
I think Mr. Peabody is part of the Green Party, in my opinion.
Yeah,
he's a dog. He's looking for dog rights.
Streaks in him. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So, I bet you guys weren't expecting that.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy that we're breaking this in real time. But like it makes sense because Mr. Peabody and Sherman's kind of like one of the more culturally relevant movies to come out within the last forever. So.
In complete reality, obviously that was a whole bit, but the reason, especially why we came up with this idea, is we watched Mr. Peabody and Sherman when Brett was in town because we could not to. Also, because I mentioned one quote in the movie that was just kind of an off, like a one-off quote, and he was like, "Is that really in there?" And I said, "Yeah," and so we watched it, and it was great.
Yeah. It's the infamous Bill Clinton line where he says, "I've done worse," and that's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's really sublime. It's really good.
And so, we're doing a Mr. Peabody and Sherman episode, which I bet none of you were thinking was the next episode. You're probably like, I can probably guess the next episode's topic. No, you couldn't.
No, this is probably a wilder swing than whenever I pitched the Turbo Man Land from G-Ball Play for Christmas, and Kevin went, "Nah, let's not do that yet, man. We're only 5 episodes."
But the funniest thing about this whole thing, though, is that we're not pitching an area. We're pitching an entire Mr. Peabody and Sherman park today.
Yes.
Our first ever pitch for a theme park, a whole entire theme park, is Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
But it just makes sense. Like, as we discussed, we realized, no, this is what we have to do.
Yep.
As a nation, as a Congress, this is what we had to do.
Yep. So, how do you make Mr. Peabody and Sherman into an entire park? It's actually way easier than you would think if you've watched the film or read the comics or whatever exposure that you have with Mr. Peabody and Sherman. We're mainly, our references from the DreamWorks film. So that's what we're going to go off of. And in the movie, they take a time traveling vehicle to go to different parts of the past, and hectic stuff ensues. So it's pretty easy to create a portal system, kind of similar to Epic's portal system that it's gonna have, where like different portals take you to different worlds. But in this case, it's a time travel device taking you to different periods of time, which honestly could work really well in a park setting. That's why we decided to do a park, because originally it was just going to be an area, but then we thought we could really make this into an entire park, and so why not? It fleshes out really easily that we have a center area which then splits off, kind of like like Disneyland or anything else, or any other park you really go to, except for Islands of Adventure. That's just a big circle, but you have a main area that splits off into different time zones that you can kind of walk in between and explore at your own pace. So, any other additions on that? I explained that pretty well.
Yeah, you explained that pretty well. I mean, this is very much like, well, I see it as is kind of a combination between Epic Universe and Epcot, where you go in, there's a New York, you go through portals, and you go through those portals, and you end up somewhere in history, Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's...
Yeah. And to hammer home those time periods, I guess, or the areas completely, I will list them off. So the Main Street USA, or the main area that you're going to be in, the entryway is going to be New York, because that's where the kind of takes place in. Yeah. That's where Mr. Peabody and Sherman live. They live in a high-rise apartment.
We will be building an animatronic in Jimmy Fallon. He's just smoking cigarettes.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Hey! But it's gonna be New York. It might be like Central Park or something. That'd be interesting and fun, or something like that. Where you'd walk into the area and it'd be like a pretty skyline and stuff like that, and you'd be able to go. There wouldn't be necessarily any rides or attractions on on the Central Park area of New York. I think Central Park's a good fun place. 'Cause it's like kind of like a dark dog parky-esque feel or whatever. But there's shopping you can do. There's, you have your guest services, your first aid, all like the basics of like a park, like how it functions, would be in that. Think of it just like Main Street, where you have all the shops and the food, and you have food places to eat and drink places to drink and stuff like that. So, and then you have these different portals that you'd be able to go into. Portals is not the right word, I guess, to say. Is like time travel devices that you're able to kind of stay there stationary, that you can walk through to get to the different periods of time, which are respectively France during the French Revolution, Egypt during King Tut's reign, Greece in general. We didn't know if we wanted to make this specifically the Trojan Horse period of Greece, like in the movie, or just Greece in general. Just ancient Greece, obviously. The Renaissance, so going to like maybe Italy or something like that, where Da Vinci is, in that area, around that area. And then just for fun, there's a whole portal directly connected to somehow the presidents. Maybe go directly into like a whole area themed after like for the presidents, because the presidents kind of like they're the funniest probably part of the show in the movie, and I think it'd be fun. I think both Brett and I probably would think it'd be fun to do a whole entire parody almost off the Hall of Presidents. So like, you have a whole portal going to a president themed area, which is actually somewhat in depth later on. It's actually somewhat has some meat on its bones. But, but I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 whole areas, excluding the New York area. So 6 whole total areas, which is nothing to scoff at when it comes to size. So we have a long episode ahead of us.
Yeah, we got a lot to do.
a lot covering to do.
Yeah. Or the epic expansion that will be Mr. Peabody and Sherman coming to Disney Universal.
It's opening up next week.
They've been building this for 8 years.
No one's known about it because the shadow government is covering it. The reason why there's CIA agents out in the middle of Florida is because they're trying to guard this, because it's all of our tax money is going into it, and it's a big expansion.
That important. You know why we're $3 trillion in debt? It's because of Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Literally, and under the park entirely is going to be it's going to be where the Illuminati is. It's going to be where all, like the shadow government stuff is there. The New World Order is going to happen under the Mr. Peabody and Sherman Park. Disney and Universal are in on it. So if you watch any single Disney movie or any single Universal movie coming out, you're being indoctrinated.
Yeah.
They're trying to tell you that the Plupa 42 is not real. They're trying to tell you that.
So many gay people in Disney webs.
They're trying to indoctrinate everybody.
Wait, that was a bit. That was a joke.
But they're trying to tell you that the Plupa 42 didn't happen. Okay. They're trying to tell you that these things did not happen and that Grimace did not kiss Mitt Romney.
Yeah, and look, we're uncovering the truth here at Disattractions.
That's our whole purpose here, is not only to give you theme park creative content, but just to tell you the truth. And there will be a memorial in the Mr. Peabody and Sherman Park where you actually go back to the Plupa 42 and you see it happen and unfold.
It's
but
very good.
That's we had to work that way in to do a deal with us to create this park, because we're going to be the lead. We're breaking this news to you. We're the lead designers of this park right now, and we're giving you the information about it right now.
Bob Iger is not going to be a thing anymore. Like, he won't even be a person.
Bob Chapek's coming back just for this park.
Yeah, we're working with Chapek. But he got better, guys. Just like Bill Clinton, he's done worse.
Yeah. So everyone knows Bob Chapek's the Bill Clinton of Imagineering. So like,
yeah.
So again, we're going off on a side tangent here when we don't really have the time for it, but
we always have the time to uncover the truth.
I guess you're right. It's just as important. So I've been just talking your guys' ear off at this point. I'm going to let Brett take it away with some of the rides that we have come up with, and maybe you can go in depth on the first ride we have up here, the flying machine ride, which you can kind of go into.
So if you've seen the cinematic masterpiece known as Mr. Peabody and Sherman, there's a sequence of the film where Sherman and that stupid, annoying blonde girl, is her name Penny?
Yeah, her name's Penny. Oh, by the way, there's active hate online for Penny. Like, there's like a hate group of people hating on Penny because she sucks. But that's just a funny tidbit to know that there's honestly active Penny hate still.
She's a female manipulator. That's what happens, But anyways, they fly on a flying machine around Italy. So we're coming up with a roller coaster based around that. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Italian flying machine roller coaster ride. It's going to be kind of like, it looks like it's being drawn and drafted up by Leonardo da Vinci himself. It's like strokes of quail, kind of pinship. As you go through this ride, it starts at a 0 to 40 acceleration, and then it has one drop that goes woo like that. if you're a listener, you have no idea what I just.
So later on in different podcasts, I think is we're gonna do a really. I want to try to actually visualize what we're saying, because it's kind of hard. We just don't have the. We're working on it. We're gonna get there.
And then after that, you'll go and you'll do some loop-de-loops and some turns and some corkscrews. I want this to be kind of like a fun, exciting ride. Like, that's kind of my vision for this, because the other rides we have set up in the park are calmer, because there'll be kind of some more kiddie sections. But this ride's going to be intense. This ride's going to blow your face off, literally. And at the end, you're going to actually crash into a wall, and you'll have to go to the hospital.
Nice. So this is sensitive topic, I know, but this is all with the realistic aspect of the park. Having a flying machine ride, kitty corner right next to New York City, is something that we're going to need to take into effect.
Yeah.
To think about. I just want to bring that up. Especially when you say crash into a wall. Just, again, I don't want to...
It's not going to be a building. It's going to be a wall.
Okay. We just got to
we're fine.
That's going to be right next. But anyways, yeah. Exactly what Brett said. It's going to be the more intense ride of the park. I think that the story should be that Da Vinci has created this flying machine and he has yet to test it because during that time he went back to when he hasn't tested it yet or whatever in the movie. And you're up to test the flying machine. And it would be an interesting mechanic for like to be like kind of like a coaster where you actually do lay down forward on. Maybe you don't sit, but you actually do lay down forward on, and you go, and it makes you fly, you know, and you feel like you're flying rather than just sitting and doing that. It might make it more immersive. You could still have, like, it still could be a fast loader. Like, you could have a chunk of people, and it could be like a normal roller coaster.
Yeah.
But, like, it wouldn't just hold the 2 people like in the movie. It would hold multiples of people, but you would be laying down forward. At least that's an idea that I had about that. It'd be kind of cool, and it'd reinforce the flying aspect of it.
Yeah.
It'd make you feel like you're like, you know, like you're zipping along and stuff. So I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know how story like this would be, if it would be like story heavy, like I guess, even though it's not a very good story, it's still kind of story heavy as Cosmic Rewind, or if it'll be more like an Incredicoaster where the story is there, but it's very passive, meaning like you can get into the story is there. But it's not too in depth. You know what I mean? Which is Cosmic Rewind's pretty more in depth of a story. Even I don't even really like it honestly. But I don't know what this would be, if it'd just be like you're testing it out and you're just flying over the skyline, or if mishaps would happen along the way where you do see animatronics or story beats throughout the ride. It's kind of wherever you want to take it. You could do a very kind of like you're just flying through the air and you're testing it out without having too many story beats within the actual roller coaster, or you could have more story beats in the roller coaster where you're like different things are going on. You see different parts of the Renaissance on the ride specifically, so you can kind of like have a little bit of a history lesson.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I guess that's where I'm going with that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We can add that in there. I just think the biggest thing is that it's exciting. Yeah, I really think that is essential, because if we just made an entire land, an entire park, and we had no exciting rides, people would be like, okay, you know what I mean?
I mean, that's what Universal's doing with Universal's Kids down in Texas.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
But that's also, they have a SpongeBob part of that park, and it looks sick. So honestly, I'd go.
I'd go to the SpongeBob park.
I'd go to the
What
SpongeBob
areas
Kids
do they have in that?
Let me, I will talk about that, hold on, later. I don't want to mess up the recording. So,
Fair.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I honestly also think with the flying machine ride is you could do something where like it actually is actively going over the park where you walk around under it. You know what I mean? I don't know how much safety that would be, but like say you're walking in the Renaissance and you're in Italy or whatever, and you are walking down the street and you're going to go get like an Italian food or whatever at a stall or whatever, like a food stall or whatever. But then overhead you kind of see the roller coaster going above you through the buildings and stuff. Kind of like a People Mover-esque, but way more intense. But like you get good views of that area of the park on the roller coaster, and it's kind of going throughout the environment. So it's not in its subjugated one area. It's the roller coaster isn't like in a separate area. It's kind of intertwined with the area as a whole. If you kind of get what I mean.
I get what you mean. Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be really cool.
And so, yeah. I think those are my favorite roller coasters, because like if you think about it, I mean I love Hagrid's so much, but Hagrid's is kind of over in its own little thing, separate from the main area, which is totally fine. That's what it should be. It shouldn't be really intertwined. That would make sense. But there's something special about like the Incredicoaster where like there's that part where you walk under the track and it circles around you overhead in the one area where the Maliboomer used to be, which was just a drop tower ride. They used to be there. That area is really cool to me because I like when a track you interact with the world around you. I don't know. I think that's just cool.
Yeah.
And so that is our first pitch ride. We don't really have a ride name for it. It's just the flying machine ride. That's what we have so far. We're not really good with names here. We should probably start getting good names going. Next we have, and I guess I'll start this one off, is the Trojan Horse Carousel. This would be located in the Greece section of the park, obviously. And this is a stupid idea more than an actual idea, but the idea is that you get inside of a Trojan horse ride vehicle, and you're on the carousel, right, a rotating carousel, but you get in it, and when the carousel starts, it just rotates about halfway to where your vehicle kind of passes through a building, and then you get to the other side, and then you literally hop out. Because that was the whole idea of a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
It's just to get in it, to get to the other side of the wall to infiltrate. That's the idea.
So here's the crazy thing. This is going to be the only ride that we have in the park. So you're welcome.
I forget, is it Leonidas who Patrick Warburton voices in that? I forget what the name of the guy is who voices that.
Yeah, it's Patrick Warburton.
I know it's Patrick, but I forget the character's name of him. I forget who he specifically voices.
The guy who just takes that woman at the end of the movie.
He just steals her. But Patrick Warburton could do there's a whole entire Soren-esque before pre-ride video.
Yeah.
And he's like, get inside Greece history. And it's literally you just going inside this one thing and exiting on the other side. It's so stupid. It'd be funny if it was the only way to get inside the fortress was to do that ride. That was the only way you could get to that side of the park. There's a weirdly long line because that's the only way you can get in there.
It's like the Hagrid's ride. You have to have a separate ticket for it.
Yep.
For that section.
Yep.
We also have the Nile River ride.
Yes, we do. You can go on. That was the next thing I was going to mention. You can go ahead.
So the Nile River ride. I was thinking y'all know that ride everyone loves in Animal Kingdom called Cali River Rapids. We take that and we put it in the Nile. I think if we had a long Nile and we had kind of a water rafting ride, that would be a ton of fun. And then you could pass through the pyramids and go through. You could have sand thrown at you by Egyptians.
And then, as you're going down the ride, you see a little basket pass up to you, and it's Moses. And then Moses is like, I need to free the Jews. And then the next scene is just Jewish slave labor. And then, even though it's not the same time period as King Tut. Two different whole entire... We're mixing things here.
But also, it's because time travel.
I guess so. But I think the Nile River raft ride is really cool because
I think it'd be really cool. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
If you had a pyramid in there and the water raft went up the pyramid and then it had a drop down the pyramid too. That'd be pretty fun. That
would be cool.
Yeah.
I guess it is a cartoon, so you can literally do everything. Because the only thing I would say is, realistically, I don't think the Nile went through a pyramid.
No, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Also, I think we should set up lore to where Mr. Peabody and Sherman have messed with the timeline, so things will be slightly different.
There you go. Yeah.
Boom! Fixed it! Sorry, that was intense.
Honestly, it'd be really cool. Imagine an e-ticket. I mean, I know that, I guess, is Cali River Rapids considered an e-ticket?
I wouldn't consider it an e-ticket.
Grizzly River Run used to be considered an e-ticket. I don't know if it's better than Cali by a lot.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't consider it an e-ticket. But
more like an F ticket.
Imagine having a whitewater rafting ride where it actually is e-ticket, where you go inside the pyramid, but it's almost Indiana Jones-esque, where there's different traps in the pyramid that happen and stuff. Water squirts at you or something like that. You even go back in history, the Nile was honestly a very dangerous river because it had a lot of crocodiles and hippopotamus. A lot of people died from hippopotamus attacks. And so you could have those threatening parts of the ride where you do have hippopotamus animatronics or crocodile animatronics. And you could go on this Nile River thing and you go inside a pyramid with traps in it and booby traps or whatever in it, and you have that giant fall outside of the pyramid where it's
you could get eaten and pooped out by a crocodile. You go through the mouth and then you go through its butt. That'd be kind of cool.
That's crazy. That's a crazy idea. We'll wait till we create the gastro and the gastrointestinal anatomy the ride. The crocodile the ride. Gastro anatomy of a crocodile the ride.
Well, that kind of reminds me remember those health people that would come to your school and show you health stuff.
My health class was done at my school.
Well, like people would come in and like they would like test you on stuff, and then sometimes they'd have like a display or something you could walk through and be like, "This is the intestines." Do you remember that?
No, I never had that.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's a Midwest thing.
That
I
might
don't
be
know.
a Midwest thing. I never had that happen.
Interesting.
That's funny. These probably people would come in and be like, "Here's an intestine."
Like, all right.
That's funny. But yeah, that's a really cool idea for the Nile whitewater, because like also you can like, it'd be perfect for the hot sun again. Like that, maybe this would be in Florida because you're connecting Disney and Universal, so it's gonna be hot.
Yeah.
And it's, you honestly haven't seen a lot of amazing whitewater rafting rides. I'd say Popeyes is probably the best themed whitewater rafting type ride that is around.
Yeah,
But I've known. I think Bildraft Barge is cool looking. It's just makes you absolutely soaked. But that's the kind of job.
It needs a little bit of tender love and care, but like it's good.
Yeah.
I went on it like not even a year ago, and I was like, oof, they need to fix some aspects of this ride.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Right. Moving on to the last ride we have an idea for was the French Revolution dark ride.
Heck yeah.
This is a very interesting one. I necessarily really didn't know how to go about this because we needed one ride for the French Revolution area. I don't know whether to do this as like the whole area is themed to French Revolution. I mean, it has to be because that's from the movie. It'd just be a very interesting part of the park when it's literally just chaos and revolution. You know what I mean? Which is complete chaos. So it's a very interesting part of the park. I want to say it's the most, not controversial, but like, I don't know how to put it. Like, intense. I want to say the French Revolution. Well, also the Russian Revolution, but the French Revolution is a very, very dark time in France's history. So it's a very interesting thing to create a theme park area themed after that. And so a dark ride, it makes sense. A dark ride, haha. But where would you go with that? How would you start with that? Would you be like, what are you doing to go on a French Revolution dark ride? And I guess this one wasn't necessarily solidified just yet, but honestly, Brett, you're a very smart guy. I'll let you take that away and see what you can do with it.
Okay, the French Revolution ride.
Yeah, I want to see what you got off the top of your head.
Okay, so it is a quote-unquote dark ride, ha ha ha. And look, like we said before, we can tamper with the timeline a little bit because we can set up an established lore that Mr. Peabody and Sherman have kind of messed up with the timeline a little bit. So what I could see happening is the French Revolution happening, and then Peabody and Sherman being like, we have to negate the violence. So like we go through as they're like going and like dragging people just right before they behead someone and be like, we can't let the people see this. This is a little intense. So it's like very meta. It's like,
that'd be fun.
You start the ride, and like Mr. Peabody and Sherman are like, "Look, we're about to go through some really, really terrible parts of American history, but we're gonna fix them. Don't worry." And like you go through, and it's like you almost see this stuff happen. I think that might be funny.
I think like the story of you being there could be Mr. Peabody and Sherman are recruiting protesters for nonviolence.
Yeah,
and there's like pre-shows in there. It's like pretend like it's the 70s. Love, not war.
Yeah. There's a scene where they just built animatronic John Lennon playing the guitar, and he's
like, "All right, I've done worse." And he gets shot.
Oh. Imagine all the French revolutionists.
Oh, gosh,
no longer in war. You can buy that on vinyl in the gift shop.
There you go. Honestly, that's a good. I think that was the perfect answer you just gave. I think there'd be really funny if the hijinks of being like, "All right, we need your help to be able to stop these people from killing each other."
But then if you revert that, you revert all of American history.
Oh yeah, and at the end it's like,
who knows what we
but then at the end it's not successful.
Well, not just American history, world history.
Oh yeah, world history. It would be a lot would change. It's the whole entire "would you kill baby Hitler?" question. You know what I mean? It's maybe they deal with that.
We could have a ride where they kill baby Hitler.
Yeah,
And then you just get off the ride. That's the only thing
Would you kill baby Hitler? The ride. You have a big button that says yes or a big button that says no.
But the baby's innocent. The baby hasn't done anything wrong yet. It's just a baby. Yeah, baby's gonna be Hitler. So. But then how would the world change if you killed baby Hitler? Anyway,
it's a big question.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a good idea. And, like, I think how you would... That's very similar to what kind of happens in the, like, just chaotic things ensue. And then, like, Mr. Peabody does this thing where he, like, calculates heavily on certain things. He's like, if I jump here at this right time, it'll like, correlate with this object here. And I'll be able to block this attack with it. Like, stuff like that, where it's, like, goofy like that. Yeah. And also, the whole park's going to be cartoony goofy. So, like, again, if you have, like, this French Revolution, it's going to be cartoony violence. There's no, like, actual going to be big blood violence. It's going to be cartoony fighting.
Mm-hmm.
So. But it also makes sense because if you ever watch Mr. Peabody and Sherman, the first 12 minutes are, like, the most intense part of the movie. It's like, it starts off blasting. But, yeah. I think those are all the rides actually that we've had ideas for, which in reality, if we're making a whole entire park, there would be probably way more rides than this. There'd probably be double this at least. But again, since we only really have an hour and a half per episode, and we're doing a whole entire park in one episode, I really think 4 is just fine, 1 per each area. But in the future, if we ever do big parks like that, because there are a couple topics that I want to do whole entire huge theme parks for, we'll focus on each individual section as a whole per episode for those. But this one was very off the cuff, like we needed a whole entire park and it'd just be fun. And so it's going to be a little bit more shrunken down, not fleshed out entirely.
Yeah.
And so those are all the 4 rides that we have done, I guess. Anything else that you have an idea for or want to flesh out more about rides, Brett? Or
I think we pretty much nailed it.
I think you're right about that.
Mm-hmm. Nailed it, much like they nailed the tomb of King Tut. Food.
Oh, food. Right. You can start off on, I guess, the respective food bit. If you want. Respective food meaning, like, the different areas.
Oh, okay,
like different, yeah. Sorry for the brain fart.
Respecting food?
I'm talking on behalf of the food.
I don't want you to hurt the food's feelings.
You can't eat it. We're going to get to a point in America where we can't eat food because the food has feeling.
Yeah. Man, I can't eat my spaghetti. It's going to feel bad about being eaten. Ah! Ah!
Mamma mia.
Speaking of spaghetti, you can order that at the Italian restaurant. There's going to be an Italian restaurant in the Italy section. There will be an animatronic Billy Joel singing songs from an Italian restaurant on repeat, so I hope you like that song. In the French section, you can order a baguette. That's it.
So that was a great explanation of that. So for respective food,
but in New York you get pizza.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say, and being stupid about saying, is that each section is going to have their respective food based off of its culture. So, like the Greek section, Greek food. The Egyptian area, Egyptian food. The president section, presidential food. You know,
presidential food. That's a very common food.
Yeah, it's just burgers and affairs.
What was I gonna say? Exactly what Brett nailed on. It's each area. It kind of makes sense. You have different. These aren't really sit down in my opinion. They're just kind of like Epcot stuff, where it's like you have these different areas that have different food in. You can go up and grab them. The Greece has gyros and Greece food. Honestly, it would be really cool if the sections had food according to what time period they were in. So I don't think gyros were. I don't know if they were existing during the Trojan horse area.
Or we could do something wacky and have different foods in the different areas. Like we have pizza in the Greek area.
Oh, because he loved pizza.
Well,
because the character absolutely loved pizza when he tried it. They started bringing pizza home.
Yeah, that is true.
That's kind of funny.
But like, I think so because like if we mess with the timeline a little bit, it'd be like the Italian area has Mexican food. Yeah. That might.
It'd be kind of funny if they had like different takes on normal food. So like you could have the Greek pizza, but it has like lamb on it, or it has like tzatziki sauce. I think that's Greek. I'm trying to think exactly off the tip of my head. If that's not Greek, I'm so sorry.
I think tzatziki's. Pretty sure that's Greek.
I think it's Greek.
There's the restaurant Tzatziki's, which is a Greek restaurant.
Well, there you go. That's probably right. But you could have like tzatziki sauce on a pizza or something where like it makes it Greek, or like in the Italian restaurant, I guess those tacos you were mentioning could have like mozzarella cheese, or like that's very stereotypical Italian though. I'm trying to think. A lot of tomatoes. You could have like in the Egyptian area they have like a Denny's.
Yeah. Yes.
Pizza Tut. Pizza Tut. It's just Pizza Tut.
I love it. Pizza Tut.
Oh my gosh.
Burger King Tut.
Burger King Tut.
That's wild.
But yeah, that's pretty much the idea that we had for those respective areas. Again, like you go deeper with that. But we do have 2 sit down areas you can reserve in the park. Again, like there would be obviously more than this if it was an actual big park. Like each area would probably have a sit down area, but again, we only have a certain amount of time here, so we came up with 2. And one of them is the White House sit down dinner, which is in the presidential area, which you can literally have dinner in the White House.
Nice.
I'd love to do that. Have a steak dinner in the White House. It's a steakhouse, obviously.
And each night, it's going to be a different president you can roast.
Oh, is it a roasting session on presidents?
Well, you know how they have the White House correspondent dinner sometimes.
Oh, I see.
They do like little roasts and jabs on the president. We can have roast nights. That'd be kind of funny. Come here tonight and you can roast Donald Trump or Obama or Herbert Hoover.
FDR.
Or William Howard Taft. But he'll show up and you can't even fit in the restaurant.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, it's pretty much it's a steakhouse, obviously, because usually they, from what I understanding of White House dinners, they generally have steak. It's steak potatoes and very much just American nice steakhouse dinner stuff. I would say, if that's what that would be. I know a lot of people that would think that would be very cool. I don't know, just as very interesting and very funny. And then you could just have like maybe Mr. Peabody and Sherman kind of roaming around and being like, this is where, and it kind of teaches about American history and American political like stuff, and like, well, this is where these things are signed. This is where this is, or whatever. These are the 3 powers of government. And it's like,
here's how we destroy them.
Or the 3 checks of government, I mean.
Checks and balances.
Checks and balances. Just how you're going to have an extended balance after this dinner.
I'm just a bill. Oh, I'm only a bill. Yeah, I'm sitting here. Can we do a Schoolhouse Rock?
Dude, I would love that, dude. Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
Conjunction function.
What if we just had like a history universe where it's Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Schoolhouse Rock, and Hamilton?
Why is Hamilton? It just seems like an extra. I guess Hamilton's there.
In New York, you can be a new man. We can have that going on in their New York section.
But yeah, and you have that sit down. That's pretty much the whole White House sit down area. Is that you can just have your food, your steak dinner. You can learn about maybe different parts of the government for maybe kids that are like, or like learning how American government kind of works. Be very interesting. And the other sit down place that we have, which we kind of mentioned and tried to like maybe think about a little bit more, was Let Them Eat Cake dinner show. So it's a sit down dinner for like a French.
Yeah.
You're in the scene where Marie Antoinette announces the Let Them Eat Cake thing. It'd be an interesting show of like the people come in and start like fighting each other, but at the same time it might be problematic. I don't know. I don't mean it to be problematic because that's a real part in history that does happen.
We talked about this. Like, we think it's a funny like little phrase for a cake shop or like a cake show. We do have to recognize that it was a phrase said to kind of demean the poor. But we could maybe take the power back. Be like, let them eat cake. We're giving out cake for free when you enter the show or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, well, because it's a real part of, like, French history, and so when you don't recognize it, obviously it's a problem in itself. But at the same time, also glorifying it in the theme park is also very interesting. I don't know. If you do it right, it would work fine. Especially since they just make a joke about it in the movie, and it works fine. In the movie, it works fine. So
yeah, I think so.
It's comedic enough where it's satirical. I think you could do that. And then the last thing I had for dining/drinking or whatever is Mr. Peabody Bar.
Ooh, yeah.
Because what?
So we all know how Mr. Peabody is just alcoholic. And so he's making like drinks for people when he comes over to his house. Thinking about having a little cocktail bar. It's kind of like, I feel like it would be like the Galaxy's Edge bar.
Yeah.
Instead of like the droid, what's his name again? Rex. Yeah,
Rex. DJ Rex.
DJ. It's just a little animatronic of Sherman, like making drinks and cocktails for you and stuff, and saying
the child is making drinks. Mr. Peabody, you mean?
Yeah, I meant Mr.
I was like, Sherman's children is an underage child is making you drinks.
Yeah. Sherman's like, here's your.
Sherman can be the DJ.
Yeah,
DJ Rex.
And he's the DJ, and he's only playing Wiggles music.
Heck, the Wiggles EDM album.
Yeah,
it's also a club.
Yummy.
But there's that one. So especially this is inspired because that one scene in Mr. Peabody and Sherman where literally like he's like doing this whole entire like section of mixing drinks for Penny's mom and dad. Penny, Evil Penny. That's also her name, Evil Penny.
Yeah,
disgusting Penny. We don't like Penny.
Yeah,
she like takes no accountability barely. She like says I'm sorry and thinks everything's okay for like destroying Sherman's like life. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Penny is poo poo Penny.
Poo poo Penny, dude.
I got some poo poo on my penny. Ooh, I don't like the way that sounded.
Never mind. Let's move on from Poo Poo Penny and go on to the bar. So you'd have drinks obviously made by Mr. Peabody and like it'd just be kind of or by the employees of Mr. Peabody maybe. I don't know. It'd be funny if he grabbed people from history to make your drinks for you. So like the different cast members, I guess, or the employees would wear kind of mismatched uniforms sometimes. So you have like a Roman soldier making one of your drinks, but the other end of the bar you have like I don't know, like what's a different historical like a guy in like Buddhist robing.
Dick Cheney's making you drinks that are like filled with the blood of his enemies.
That's crazy.
Blood tonics.
Dude, when is Disney gonna make an animated short called Mick Cheney, huh? What?
That's so good. That's so good. I might steal that.
You've been stealing it. Yes, you've stolen twice 2 of my ideas.
Yeah, Mick Cheney is really
I gotta be a writer, man. That's what I'm telling you. Mick Cheney.
Absolutely. Mick Cheney. Mick Cheney and cheese.
McDonald. Get the Mick Cheney at McDonald's.
Get the...
Alright. Moving on from the bar, we have shopping, which is kind of very basic in this one. Pretty standard. You have different... all the main shopping areas are going to be in the New York section, because New York is known for its shopping and its shops, obviously. So having a lot there makes sense, especially because it's also the main area, so it's easy to get to in the center of everything. But also the different shops are able to buy stuff from within the different worlds to buy maybe different things. Like you can buy... really funny if you could buy a guillotine toy in the French Revolution area. Or like you could buy... I'm trying to think something like maybe you can buy... like a toga from the Greek So I don't know. Like,
You could buy rubber cake.
you could buy a rubber cake, yeah. You could buy a powdered wig in the presidential area. Like, stuff like that where it's, like, stupid.
I pitched Build a Child.
Oh, yeah, you can take Build a Child away.
So, as you know, in the Mr. Peabody and Sherman lore, okay, Mr. Peabody adopts Sherman. It's not the other way around, right? And that's a big contention in the movie, because can a dog adopt a child? But now you can adopt a child, too, with Build a Child, which is like Build a Bear, but it's with a human boy.
Basically, we're just creating, just like, what's it called? What's that process called?
Build a Bear.
No, it's what's that called? It's not great.
Adoption?
No, honestly, it's better that I'm not coming up with the answer right now.
Okay.
I
feel like you're gonna say adoption.
No, it's adoption. If you're picking, it's a Build a Child. You can pick what it is. What's that called?
Gentrification or whatever.
Yeah, where you just pick out your genes that your kid wants to have.
Exactly.
Are we gonna solve
Then
issues?
you don't have to be disappointed anymore.
Gosh,
it's
it's like genetic something. I forget what it's called, but someone might say in the comments. But like, you can say, "Oh man, this is all not what I believe at all," but I'm gonna state it anyways. But you could solve autism. Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that stuff.
Just stupid, but yeah, Build a Child.
Build a Child.
This might be considered controversial because they're able to pick out the skin color.
Yeah. Oh.
Are you able to do all of that?
Oh.
What does this mean when you say Build a Child? This is not supposed to be racist or anything like that. This is a serious question.
So,
how far would this go?
It's up to audience interpretation.
All he's going to say is you build a child. Does that mean they just give you a bed and no condoms and say, here you go?
Yes.
Literally, it's just like, this area is purposefully for
You can
conceiving children.
You can do it the natural way, or you can do it our way. And then if you go to the natural way route, it just leads you to a bedroom. If you go the other way, then it leads you to like a Build-A-Bear. But it's for a child.
But like, the natural way is highly discouraged. It's like, no, you don't want to do it our way, because our way is standardized.
Yeah. Like, you don't know what's going to happen the other way.
Peabody's like, this is an STD.
Oh, no.
Build a Child was crazy. But yeah, that was in the shopping area for some reason. I didn't like how Build a Child is in the shopping section. But, also, this is a better idea, in my opinion. You had presidential action figures.
Yeah.
That's a better one.
We have every single president, and we make them an action figure, but they're in mystery boxes. So some of them are more rare.
Mm-hmm, so it's like
everyone would be like, "Dang it! I got Lyndon B. Johnson again. I have him already, Mom."
It'd be funny if like there was like a wall in the shop that said Inauguration Day, and it was like you put a coin in it and you twisted the knob, and the president went like, "Ah!" and he like fell down and he landed or whatever. He does like his hand like falls from a hand on the Bible, and it just.
There's two machines. There's the president, and then there's the vice president.
Yeah.
And then there's a third machine that are candidates who lost. And you're like, man, I really hope I get Al Gore. I really hope Mitt Romney comes out of that thing.
Mitt Romney. He is actually canon, completely canon in this park.
Yes.
There's a Mitt Romney meet and greet.
There's a Mitt Romney universe, and it's the portal that goes down.
Mm-hmm. So once you actually have spent enough time within the Peabody and Sherman Park, you'll be accepted into the cult of Peabody.
Yes.
Into where you go down under the park and you join the cult. Because and once you get there, that's the 7th portal. There's no 6th portal. It just goes directly to the 7th portal. Where it goes directly to the Romneyverse.
Mr. Peabody? Are you ready for this, Kevin? Mm-hmm. Mr. Peabody is actually Satan. No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Peabody is the one who was responsible for the Pluto 42.
Well, I think Mr. Peabody was, in my opinion of the events, because there are many ways you can interpret it, I think Mr. Peabody was complacent of the Pluto 42. I think he could have stopped it because he was there in his time travel, but he looked at it and didn't do anything.
Because he wanted to kill baby Hitler or stop the Pluto 42.
No, because he knew if he didn't do it, it would change our history. We wouldn't be here if the Pluto 42 didn't happen.
Yeah,
so he looked at it, and he was there for a minute, but then he decided to do nothing about it.
We're all products of Grimace.
We are all products of Mitt's love. The passion of the of the Grimace Mitt verse is allowing us to exist. If we end up getting some sort of viewership at all from this, there's going to be so much Grimace Mitt Romney art.
I want a shirt that it says we're all products of Grimace. We have that to be the first shirt that we sell on our website.
Yep. And then McDonald's is going to sue us.
Yeah. It's fine.
Man, the day we get Mitt Romney on this to talk about the Romneyverse is going to be a day.
Yeah. That's when we know we've peaked.
Yep. And he's just going to have a can of soda.
Mm-hmm.
On his... Gosh. That
was pretty good. That was good stuff.
Moving on for the presidential action figures. Normal Peabody merch, so just kind of like having shirts like of Peabody and Sherman, like a shirt of Mr. Peabody, and it says like, I only do it doggy style. Yes. And it has a dog on it. Maybe you can get like a little like action figure of like the time traveling device they use in the movie or something, or like you can buy a shirt that on the back says "Hit me, I'm Penny."
Oh, that's a little. I know we love Penny here, but I mean we hate Penny here.
You say you love Penny? Get out of here! You're out of the Peabody cult. You get out of the Peabody cult.
Yeah, it's been fun while it lasted. That was a mistake. It was just
dang Mitt Romney. You will not be able to be in Mitt Romney's presence anymore.
Yeah,
he is being taken away. Mitt Romney actually has the ability to go to the fifth plane.
Poop on command. What?
Also poop on command. He can do that. He's pooped all the time.
Yeah, he can poop on command. Pretty cool.
But he has the ability to go to the fifth plane called the Ploop plane. Ploop plane.
Ploop Romney.
Ploop Romney. That's his mode when he's plooping. He's called Ploop. We're so freaking stupid. We're in like our mid-20s talking about Ploop on the internet.
I'm in my late 20s now. I turned 27 a few days ago.
Woo! 27 years that Mitt graciously gave to you.
Yes. Romney and Grimace could take it away anytime they wanted to.
They could take away your Ploop privileges.
Yeah, shoot, dude. I gotta keep a hold of my Ploop privileges.
Okay, so this is when we want to take a little bit of time on. Huh?
Sorry, I have a Ploop card still.
You still, honestly, you can get back into the cult of Ploop, but you'll wait. Okay. That's a different cult. Not the Peabody is the entrance to the cult of Ploop, but I can't tell you anything about the cult of Ploop. That is different. It stacks on each other.
We have to make our own Wikipedia page where we keep control of all of this.
Oh, all this. It's like, have you heard of SCPs?
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically SCP, like a website about that, but it's all Ploop anomalies that happened in the past. The French Revolution was actually a very big Ploop event. Mitt Romney was there. He started it.
The movie Emilio
Let them drink Diet Coke.
The Ploop anomaly that got Emilio Perez 13 Oscars.
Literally, that's a Ploop anomaly. We gotta make an SCP freaking website about these different Ploop anomalies that are like...
Yeah.
Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
Mr. Floop.
We want to talk about... They can't know about Mr. Floop yet. That's different.
Okay.
That's later down the line.
Yeah, alright.
Okay, actually back on the topic and stop talking about plooping. Because we keep doing that every episode.
Not every episode. We've been better about it the last few episodes.
Hall of Presidents.
Yes.
That is you all the way.
Okay, so the first thing I thought of when we did Mr. Peabody and Sherman was like, we need to have a president show, like the Hall of Presidents, but it's more comedic. So in this show, all the presidents will stand up on stage and say all the mistakes they've made in their presidential elections and why they hope for the future presidents to do better. So, like, for instance, Bill Clinton will stand up and be like, I had an affair with my wife. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
And everyone's like, that was so brave to say. And then George Bush will come up and be like, you know what? Dick Cheney just kind of pulled my strings. Yeah, I was so brave to say. And it just keeps going. You know, Obama's like, I'm perfect. No, I'm just kidding. Can you imagine? He's like, I can't think of anything.
Michelle, like, get over here. Say your sins.
Yeah. And Michelle comes up and goes, I got rid of Bosco sticks at school lunches.
Michelle!
How can you do that to the kids? It's like an AA meeting, but for all the presidents.
But, like, not all of them come, so it's only, like, the 4 worst presidents ever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's pretty much kind of it, and that's the show. It's like a comedy show, obviously. Yeah. But also it is valuable because, like, oh, this is what you shouldn't do.
I think it is a really funny idea, honestly. The whole of
then immediately after this, it's the president's AA dance party.
Yes.
So it's just a dance party. This all takes place in the same place as dinner. Hall of Presidents. You have dinner. You go to the president dance party where you can dance with Bill Clinton. And you can dance with Bush. You can dance with everybody.
Yeah.
George Washington. Everybody. I don't know why, but you can. We have to have the dance party in there. Normally Brett does it. I'm sorry I took that away from you. But
I'll never forgive you.
It was too exciting to not do the dance party. And then there's also a France party in the French Revolution area. That's so stupid. And then after the dance party, all that we have left is a historical fireworks show, which is pretty self-explanatory. I think it's just supposed to be a fireworks show that's like maybe shows different parts of like history or whatever. I don't know. I was really extending with that one. But honestly, that's everything that we have talked about, which honestly is a pretty thick episode.
Thick with 2 C's.
We're about an hour in right now, so we have about 15 minutes, 20 minutes extra. So if we want to, we can kind of go back over, and kind of go back and start and remind everyone of all of our ideas. And so the first idea is, the area obviously is an entire Peabody Sherman Park, and it's separated into 6 different themed lands: New York, the presidential portal, the ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, French Revolution, and the Renaissance. Those are all of our portals, and each of those respective portals has their respective food located inside to eat, maybe with a little bit of creative liberty when it comes to kind of mixing cultures together. With each has a different ride. Our rides are the flying machine ride in the Renaissance section of the park that you ride like a laying down roller coaster. That'll be the most intense ride. That'll be very much a story about you will try out Da Vinci's new machine that he created and have some maybe history lessons along the way while it's intense of the Renaissance. Trojan horse carousel thing, which is just kind of a joke ride, but it'd just be kind of funny. Even if it was just different, like all the horses on the carousel were actually just Trojan horses, would be funny. Either way, if you did the joke way or like a real way, it's still fun. The Nile Whitewater raft ride, which you go down the Nile, there's hijinks ensue, and you go inside the pyramid and have like an Indiana Jones type experience. The French Revolution dark ride, which is you going in to help try to bring peace to the French Revolution, which is kind of fun. Again, the dining is respective foods in each area. The White House sit-down dinner, and then the Let Them Eat Cake dinner show. We have shopping, which is New York Shopping Center, presidential action figures in the president's area, normal Peabody merch, like I said, having the different shirts and whatnot, the Build-A-Child. Eugenics! That's the name I was searching for. Eugenics. That's the name of it. It's like, that's just eugenics. The Mr. Peabody bar. Oh, that was in the dining. I missed that one. But I love Mr. Peabody bar.
Yeah.
The shows are the Hell of Presidents, the Hall of Presidents, Presidential Dance Party, and the Historical Fireworks Show. And that is literally everything. Is there anything you want to go back and talk about, or you think that's pretty good? We did a pretty good job reviewing everything that we've come up with.
I think we're good.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of anything else. I think we covered that though.
Again, kind of going back, we do have an extra 20 minutes, so I do want to talk about it a little bit extra here at the end. But again, this whole park idea here is very, very minimum because, again, we were only doing this in one episode. In the future, I want to remind our audience that if we're doing a big park like this, if we decide to do, hey, we're going to do an actual, like, one of these days I really want to take it seriously and do, like, a serious theme park discussion on, like, something like, I don't know. I don't want to get specific ideas, but there are some ideas that I want to discuss on this channel that actually had really ideas for a really cool theme park, and those each of the area of each part of the park will have their own unique episodes, so you can really get into them and dig into those ideas. Covering a whole joke that's not really a joke theme park, I guess it is, but it's like a silly whole theme park, is fun to do in this type of fashion. But if we're gonna do anything type of serious at all, we'll delve into it a lot deeper and cover a lot more time in each part of the park. And moving on from that, I guess is there anything you want to say about the future of Disattractions that you want to talk about, Brett? Because I do have some things to say, but I'm gonna talk everyone's ear off, I feel like.
Oh, okay. But, I do feel like we should still kind of do a offset episodes occasionally where we talk about like future of theme parks and like what's going on currently within the theme park world, because I feel like that's something we're both really passionate about. If at some point we're able to do vlogs visiting different theme parks, that would also be cool. Like Solar City in my neck of the woods, or like, you know, the Disney parks, obviously Epic Universe, all that stuff. You know, I think all that would be good. Yeah.
I think kind of double downing on that. I want to do different episodes of Disattractions that are not part of the main podcast. I may have discussed this previously in a previous part of the podcast. But actually, before I even get ahead of myself, too, we didn't even give a probability rating for any of this. I totally jumped ahead. Did you?
I was wondering when we were going to do that.
Did you want to do a probability rating for all of this, or is it just?
So.
Honestly, these are all not going to happen so much to the point where these are all 0 for me. But
yeah, I might give them all 2.
The Eugenics Build-A-Child's a 0 for me.
Eugenics Build-A-Child's definitely a 15 for me. It's happening in the government.
But we totally forgot to do the probability. I think I forgot to do it because this is such a joke one that I just, for some reason, just went past my mind. But
I actually think giving them all 0s makes sense. How about you?
I think if they were to do a Mr. Peabody and Sherman Park, this would be the way they did it, in respective to if they actually decided to do a Peabody and Sherman Park, which they're not going to. But if they did, this would be kind of what they're kind of doing, except for the Build-A-Child.
They are.
Huh?
What do you mean? Universal told us that they are.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, they totally did. I'm not lying.
Yeah, sorry, Kevin kind of lost the plot there for a second.
I did lose the plot there for a second. You're right. I lost the ploop.
The ploop of 42.
Yeah. But
I feel like the Da Vinci ride actually might happen, especially if it was like a actual Mr. Peabody and Sherman ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that could happen.
Again,
I think that's the only thing that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think so too. So I guess that's your probability, or that's your ploopability rating right there.
Yeah.
Moving on, I guess I want to go back to what I was talking about. Sorry for the hop to back to the probability. But I wanted to take a little bit more time and to try to what's the word I'm looking for? I wanted to diversify. That's the word I was looking for. What Disattractions is. I want this, the main, you're not going to be missing out on the main podcast. The main solid Disattractions you know and love is going to be coming out 2 times a month, bi-weekly. That on every Tuesday at 8 a.m. That's the plan. But in between there, I want to do a little bit more short form content where it's more bits and pieces. Like maybe we can do another podcast, a side podcast, or something where we talk about something, or even just discuss random attractions that we kind of learned about. Because there's a lot of attractions that don't get talked about at all that exist in the world.
Yeah.
That is kind of fun to talk about, or even stuff in the past, or even, you know, the state of Disney or Universal, or not even just that, but even smaller parks, like you said, Silver Dollar City, or even local theme parks, stuff like that, where like we talk a little bit more about this hobby that we both have more than just creating Disattractions. But again, at the same time, this is not something that we're going to stop doing. So I don't think we're going to stop doing it. But to try to diversify.
We ended it at episode 10, Mr. Peabody and Sherman.
We made it to 10, which honestly is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We get to double digits now. But moving... Also, I wanted to try to diversify the visual portfolio of Disattractions, meaning that in the future, we're going to change maybe the intro that we have, the outro that we have, or change up the visual aspect of what we're doing to try to update things and make it more fun. I want to try to add a lot more like colorful cartoon characters to our little podcast here to help maybe make it more creative and more fun. And like I said earlier in this podcast, I also try to visualize I just don't have very good artistic skill when it comes to drawing. I used to, but I don't really have it anymore. But I really do want to try, maybe even start live streaming me trying to draw out our ideas that we've had on this podcast or something, just to have fun, to try to visualize these ideas, because it's a little work to try to talk about them, but to try to actually make them and visualize them and concrete them is another thing. I think it'd be kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
So those are all the things I wanted to talk about really a lot with our audience, because, you know, they're the people that keep us going too, not only because we want to keep doing this, but it's nice to see that at least some people are enjoying what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And so, again, thank you guys for watching or listening and
Thanks,
engaging
Sean.
with our content, because I really appreciate it. It's something that we've been talking about for a while, and we're doing really good with how long we've been doing it. 10 episodes in bi-weekly, so we've been doing it for quite a while.
We were only late one time because of a technical difficulty.
But now that we're back to our standard procedure, we're recording this way ahead of time, so we're going to get this out to you on time. But
maybe even early, you never know.
But that's all I wanted to say. Unless you wanted to mention anything else for any of the projects you're doing, or anything you wanted to say.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with projects for me right now, including this podcast. We have 2 things. Workshopping Humanity is another podcast that I run with my friend Jared. That is coming back like this week at some point. And that's essentially where we like to go like in depth with media and kind of how it relates on a cultural level. There's going to be a bit of a visual component to that show, including merchandise selling soon, so that's going to be kind of interesting. That's something that is happening pretty soon, because I'm going to be actually hosting an art booth locally next month, so that'll be a cool thing to be able to experience. Along with that, me and my friend George are starting up our own independent film company called A1 and A2 Productions. And that's just making its way, and I have a few things written that are going to be filmed within the next few months. So that should be cool too. Kevin's involved in one of them. So yeah. So
that'll be good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I literally like right after this and running to grab lunch with a friend who's going to help me out on those projects. So, you know, we're steamrolling, we're chugging ahead. I even have a call tonight with my other writer of that. So, you know, we're chugging along. So I think, you know, by this time next year, Kevin and I are going to be millionaires.
I wish. But yeah, it's good to do that. But all right, well, let's just finish this off, I guess. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Disattractions. Thank you for engaging with the content and commenting and doing everything you can to try to, help us get more viewers just like you.
Thank you, Mitt Romney, for kissing Kevin on the forehead.
Oh, I know, right? You can see the hickey right there. Yep.
Oh, he got a little intense with that kiss. Whoa.
It's because I dropped some Diet Coke on my forehead. That's what happened.
Fair enough.
I honestly don't know what soda he was caught drinking. I don't know what it was. I don't know. He just seems like a Diet Coke guy. So I went there.
Imagine it is Diet Coke. I mean, I feel like that makes sense. I don't know.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day. See you later then.
See you later.